Stevens. Any questions? Start with Dan Roche.
Hi, Brad. Just a thought on moving on from San Antonio and just what you maybe learned from that as you get ready for a big game against the Lakers tomorrow night.
Well, I thought obviously we did a lot of good things to get back in the game, but we dug ourselves quite a hole with how we played. I think we covered that pretty well after the game, and we have to prepare for a really good team with obviously a bunch of guys you got to account for, but certainly starts with LeBron and AD.
Chris Ryan.
Hey, Brad. Obviously, Kemba and JT and Jalen have played together before, but Jalen and JT have kind of taken on additional roles this year. Is there anything that's going to change in your view in their dynamic on the offensive end, or do you feel that they're going to be similar to what we've seen before?
Well, I mean, every year you're a little bit different. Our team is not the exact same as last year. So I think it's as much an adjustment for everyone else as it is for, who's going to rotate in with those guys, who's going to complement those guys when they're out of the game. How are we going to manage each of their minutes throughout the course of a long season and try to, maximize them when they're in there together? There's all kinds of factors there. So I'm not worried about any of them finding, an offensive rhythm playing together. I'm worried about our team making the right reads and defending. Those are the two things that are top of mind right now, because those are things that we have to improve upon.
Matt Valtor.
Brad, as somebody that's been involved in basketball your whole life, do you ever take a moment to think about being a part of this rivalry and just kind of what it means to the sport and just your place in it?
First of all, Matt, I think you always have to remind yourself what you at 8 years old would have thought, right? What you at 15 years old would have thought. And I've said that before when we're getting ready to play the Lakers to our team, like when you're concerned about your role in this game, when you're concerned about how many minutes you play, when you might be going in, like, don't forget about that 15-year-old who would have died to be on the end of the bench, and I think this is a special opportunity. It's a special rivalry. Obviously the opportunity to compete against the very best is always a great challenge. And, they're excellent. They have an excellent team, on top of all that. So, I think that we certainly will look forward to the challenge. And I don't think that we will look at it as anything but, grateful for the opportunity to compete in the game.
Brian Robb.
Hey, Brad. Just wanted to see if there is any update on Payton or Romeo, just in terms of their recoveries and what you guys are hoping from that standpoint.
No update. I mean, both are doing a little bit more, but they're not. Payton's a lot closer than Romeo, but I don't know what that means.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Brad, as an opposing coach, is it hard not to marvel at what LeBron has done, and at age 36, he's still an MVP candidate, and he hasn't missed any games. Everybody said he was going to sit out and miss games because it was a quick turnaround. He's not missed any. I mean, is it easy to kind of just shake your head and look at him and just be like, wow, I guess?
No, listen, he is as special gets. And, he would be a multiple time more MVP award winner if people weren't bored and looking for other things to discuss, right? He's been the best player in the league for however many years now. He's an amazing offensive player. His ability to pass, drive downhill, shooting a career high percentage from three just keeps getting better and better and better. And then obviously he's, physically what you would want in a defender, right? He's got great size. He can guard 1 through 5. He's super smart. He knows what's coming before it happens. Nothing but the utmost respect for him. Have never had anything but. I mean, it's, we've all we've had some playoff series that were pretty one-sided against him, and one that went down to the wire. And I just think just makes you appreciate him even more as the years go on. And I think that he's played as well in some ways in the last year and a half as I've seen him play.
Jared Weiss.
Brad, Sunday marks the 40th anniversary of the first ever NBA game that was shown overseas, which also happened to be a Celtics-Lakers game. I'm wondering, as someone who's coached a lot of players that were born overseas or also Americans that played overseas, how do you think the globalization of the game has added and improved the game, and how has it affected you?
Well, first of all, it's one of the rewarding parts about being a part of the game, and also being in these locker rooms, right? You've got people from all over the world in your locker room. On any given year, I think last year we had 5 or 6 guys from different countries, and I just think that it's what the game has brought to me personally, and where it's taken me, and how much that people around the world pay attention. Again, it's like we talked about the Celtics-Lakers rivalry earlier. You don't take any of that for granted.
Final 2 questions for Coach. We'll go to Kyle Goon.
Hey, Brad. LeBron was kind of a little mournful yesterday that this rivalry won't have fans in the building, and saying, it's not quite the same, even though it is an exciting rivalry. Is this, besides the playoffs, the kind of game where that absence is most keenly felt, and what effect do you think it has, if any?
Well, first of all, once you tip, I think that it's a game, right? But I totally understand what he's saying from the standpoint of first game of the season, walking into TD Garden, getting ready to play Milwaukee. It was like, man, I wish the other 19,000 people were here with us, and even on the road, when you don't get a chance to, play in those environments, and a road win is one thing, but a road win in a raucous environment in front of fans is a totally different experience, right? And yeah, I mean, this is we're all doing our best to navigate this. The NBA is doing its best to navigate this, Kyle, but it's not as good without fans, and that's the reality of it. And I agree with him on that.
Final question for Coach Adam Himmelsbach.
Hey, Brett, I was just wondering what you thought about how the Lakers kind of reshaped themselves a little bit this offseason, bringing in Montrezl, Schroeder, Gasol, Wes Matthews, and if they've changed how they played it all to you with this new group.
Well, first of all, I think over the last 2 years, the whole thing's obviously been built around LeBron and AD. And even in last year's team throughout the course of the year, I thought Frank and his staff did a great job of reshaping that team from series to series, and so adding new pieces was not probably too dissimilar from what they were already doing. But the addition of Schroeder, the addition of Gasol, the addition of Montrezl Harrell, Wesley Matt, I mean, those guys are good players. Like, it's scary to think that the last year's champion is better. But I'd say on paper, they probably are. They obviously lost good players too, but those additions are all very, very good players, and they seem to complement each other very well thus far.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.